Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, still listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're after dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
What is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy, BC Beastie Brandon Combs, coming to you live on Sunday night. I am pumped, man. It's not just a 2-man show, but it is a 3-man show tonight. We've got my boy. He's backstage. I don't know what he's doing backstage right now, but I'm just going to bring him on. We're going to talk a whole lot of football tonight. I don't know what this guy's doing backstage, but Tori, what is going on, brother? Haven't seen you in a while.
Packers win. Packers win.
Yeah.
The only thing
what I expected you to bring to the show.
The only thing I'm really irritated about, as I said pre-show, is I woke up this morning. Paul Chryst still had a job at the University of Wisconsin, and I don't know what I got to do to get rid of him, but I'll start a petition.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Maybe him and Matt Nagy could go coach at Rice or something next year together.
Hey, speaking of Rice, did you see what happened at Rice on Saturday?
No. Completely missed it.
Sean Taylor, who's the 14th anniversary of him passing away was Saturday. His brother plays at Rice University and intercepted the ball on the 14th anniversary of his passing to end the game, save the game for Rice.
Oh, no shit. I know. I completely missed that. I don't know how
look at the segue you gave me without even knowing you gave me a segue.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of not knowing what the hell is going on, we got our boy. He is the man, the myth, the legend. He is my actual right-hand man. He got mad because I called you my right-hand man once. So he got all hurt. So when I brought him on the other night, we were interviewing RC Orland. He lit me up. But this is the man that I started it all with. It is the Soup Boss. Soup, what's going on, buddy?
I was waiting for a left-hand man or something like that. I didn't know how we'd get in trouble or shut down right away. I was also wondering if we were going to get some type of joke about like a threesome, like peanut butter to our women threesome type of joke or something stupid that Buck would just be like off to the side all about.
That's true. That's true.
I was just going to say Dutch windmill.
Oh, God. Oh, we're going.
Congratulations, everyone. Nice knowing you. YouTube's about to shut us off. I was making a joke, and Tori decided to just kind of toss us right over the boat. So congratulations.
It's kind of what Tori does, Soup.
I mean, if you haven't found out, I look for that very fine line, and I will run and jump as far over as that bad boy as I can.
I'm glad you said fine line and do it run and jump.
As the line in the long jump is what he sees it as.
Pretty much.
He doesn't look at it as a stopping point. For him, it's a distance thing.
That's a starting point.
I was waiting for you to say something like you find that line and you just jam it in there and you were just going to completely keep going with it. But so nice knowing that if we had any female viewers that they are now gone to the few
so far,
we had male ones. Thank you.
We've had threesome, Dutch windmill, and jamming it in there, all in the opening segment. I don't know if we can keep going on with these puns, but
my sons watch this show, by the way.
yeah, mine do too. And I've got some female viewers from work that watch the shows with their kids, and so we're running it up there. But we got some people checking in already up in the chat. We got Alpha Rob. What's going on, Alpha Rob? I see Drew in there. Drew, what's going on,
Rock's
Drew?
On.
We got Rock. Rock is back in the chat. What is going on, everybody? Thank you guys for joining us on Sunday night. Let's get right to it, man.
Boat here.
And Soup Boss, this is going to be, we're going to get to your boys in a second, but I want to know how your Thanksgiving was.
Well, I mean, I told you last week, my Thanksgiving was all by myself, and
nobody was looking,
drinking beers and sitting on my couch, and I literally watched 3 football games, and then played some online video gaming with my other son, and that was the Thanksgiving. But then Friday was good. Friday had more time with kids and stuff like that, so pretty good. I'm just glad that I kept myself away from work. That's about it.
Yeah.
See, I'm like you. If I am not at work and I am not on the clock, I do not deal with work. My work phone gets turned off. And I say, if you have anything work related you want to talk to me about, text it to my phone and I will promptly ignore it until I am back at work.
See, I'm the opposite. That's why I'm glad that I didn't, get into it. Even though about 15 minutes before the show, I decided to just check it and was like almost like encouraged to start respond to emails. I was like, nah, I don't want to piss off Combs and Tori already.
So no, I went up to Green Bay. I was up in Green Bay since Wednesday, and I came back today, and
then watched your Packers put it to the Rams.
Yeah, had to get done watching that, and I got me some nice cronuts when I was up there. I don't know. I'm not sure if you guys know what a cronut is or not.
Now we've got cronuts in here, man. We're just really going for the terrible things.
It is a croissant donut that's usually filled with, I don't know.
It's Green Bay, so it's probably cheese.
No.
Something made with cheese, baked in cheese, fried in cheese.
As you know, we are very Hollander, very German.
Dip in cheese.
Custard's a big one here. So the first
one I have
custard.
no idea outside of cheese what the hell you guys do in Green Bay. Custard? That's a big thing, I'm guessing.
Custard's a big thing, yeah.
You do cheese and you waste quarterbacks' careers. That's all you do in Green Bay.
Really? Because when's the last time Chicago won a Super Bowl?
Oh, here we go. Here comes the NFC North boys ripping into each other. How about my Patriots, though? How's about that? Let's jump into that.
We're gonna definitely get into that for sure. What is going on with your New England Patriots, man? Look,
I'm starting a new thing. Let's go Brady.
I said.
Let's go, Brady!
You want to piss him off? You want to piss him off? Just say, let's go, Cardinals. Just do that, Tori.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. All I got to do is start talking about the Cardinals.
He's a Brewers fan. He's a Brewers fan. He's not going to chant, let's go, Cardinals.
Nah,
that to you.
But anyway.
No. So the one thing that BC and I have in common is a mutual hate for the Cardinals.
Yes, absolutely. So
the St. Louis Cardinals.
Your New England Patriots, I said it was going to take 4 weeks for us to determine who they were. But they went out today, and what they did to the Tennessee Titans, I left that game impressed. I was impressed by what I saw. I was impressed by their defense. I was impressed, more importantly, by their offense, because that defense, look, you still haven't faced a very solid, and that Titans offense is not the same as it is without Derrick Henry. But that defense and the way they that offense and the way that they went after that secondary of the Tennessee Titans, to me was what impressed me the most about this team. And I think that if they can do that to the Tennessee Titans, I think they can do that to the Buffalo Bills. And so that's where I think going into next Monday, I'm really excited to actually watch that Monday Night Football game. I'm really impressed by what I see from the New England Patriots. I said I wasn't a believer in them yet. I said they might be good. They might be good. I just don't know because of the schedule that they've played. And now after seeing them today, like it left me, pretty impressed. I'm excited for next Monday night. I think it's going to be a game. I think for over the next 3 weeks, even if they don't win the games, they're at least going to be competitive.
All right, Tennessee. I was going to go.
Go ahead, Tori. You do it. I'll take the thunder at the end here as the Pats fan.
So the thing is, I'm going to make Tennessee Titan fans happy because apparently, according to their YouTube comments on our clips, all I do is trash the Titans and talk bad about them, just like the Cardinals fans, except I really do just talk bad about the Cardinals. So shut the hell up. Now, the Titans, this was a good win. It was impressive. It was good, but you were also playing a Titan squad without King Henry, without A.J. Brown, without Julio Jones. Their top receiver was, I don't know, some guy with 2 last names. This was not like a full strength Titans.
And that's
team.
why I said what the offense did to that Titans defense is what really impressed me, which really swayed my opinion of what the Patriots are, because what that offense did was they picked apart a really good. No, I'm saying what the Patriots offense did to the Titans defense is what impressed me. That Patriots offense, that to me was the question mark. Is Mac Jones really that good, or has he been taking, advantage of playing the Jets and the Houston Texans and all this stuff? This team, it's almost like they skipped the rebuild period. It's almost like they lost Tom Brady. They were supposed to start rebuilding. We were supposed to be able to go to more than 2 seasons without the damn Patriots being good. And here we are. And they're good again. How is that possible?
The season's not over yet, Brandon.
To you how it's possible.
Go ahead. Explain to me.
I've explained to everyone how that was possible. There was a huge poker decision that Bill Belichick made last year, which was to make it a 1-year rebuild. Why? Because they went out with absolutely no cap space. People forget they did actually give Brady an offer, but everyone knew that wasn't going to happen because Brady wanted out. Bill, I think, was done with the whole scenario. But if they signed Brady, they're going to have to make a ton of cap space moves. And instead, Brady not signing, they said, okay, they got Cam Newton in for $1 million. And everyone's like, oh, they'll only give him $1 million. No one else wanted him. And they didn't have that much money. After that, they had like $800,000 in salary cap space. Then half the team goes and decides to get on the COVID list. More players on the Patriots combined than any other team in the AFC total had more people out. And they had $25.5 million in cap space. I remember they almost beat Seattle. And then Cam Newton had COVID and they went to Kansas City. And everyone was like, man, if Cam was in there, they would have had it. And there was all this stuff like, you now have $26 million in cap space. Go get someone. Go do it. Right then and right there, Bill Belichick realized when I get my key players back on defense, and if I play my cards right, we're going to be just fine. I just need to find the right type of quarterback. And he loved Cam Newton. Like the amount of praise that Bill Belichick gave Cam Newton all the time was insane. It really was. But he also wasn't dumb. He knew Cam Newton didn't fully study the playbook. He called one audible all year. And instead of saying, okay, we have a chance to get a wild card, he knew that team wasn't going to go any further. So Bill Belichick said, I hold. I'll wait. And he held. And he went out and in the rest of the NFL, I said it draft night. I said it to you, Combs. I said it to a bunch of people. You're all going to regret either letting Fields or Jones drop down to the Patriots and not making them trade up. They got to keep all their leverage and anything else. They got great players, as they always do. They got all their key players back on defense. They go out and they take the cap space instead and go get Hunter Henry, Judon. We got to see the other tight end there. Jonnu Smith, who, of course, they put him in there against Tennessee to kind of be like, this is what you lost. That's why I tried to put Jonnu in any league I had fantasy this week, because you knew Bill was going to be like, you shouldn't have let him go. Here he is. And this is what they did. They were, of course, not with Tom Brady. You're missing one of the greatest players of all time. So automatic, like, hey, can you bet against them going to the Super Bowl? Sure you can. They're not that. But this team with Bill Belichick, it just proves that everyone was like, well, was it Bill or was it Brady? Was it Bill or was it Brady? Guess what? It was both of them. They're both damn good. Yeah. They're both damn good. Yeah, so the best player, not athlete and everything. I know everyone wants to get all pissy about that stuff. The best game manager on the field, Tom Brady, leaves, but the best game manager under a headset is still there. And you still have all of his players. And as crazy as it is, Hightower and some of these other players going out of COVID last year, they got a free year off to rest their bodies, get healed up, didn't go through the playoff grind, didn't put the extra plays in, didn't tear their ACLs, MCLs, or anything like that. And now they're set and ready. And they went and got a guy like Mac Jones, who was blowing defenders away in preseason because he was asking them to explain to them defensive play calls in the book, because he got the defensive playbook to study that because he was already finished studying the offensive playbook and was telling Cam Newton what certain plays are. Are they back, like guaranteed Super Bowl back? Absolutely not. But to me, everyone, when you think of rebuild, you think of a team completely getting depleted and going to the bottom and having to get a top 5 pick and getting a ton of cap space. And instead, it wasn't a rebuild. It was a pause. It was Bill Belichick going, I know what I've got for draft space. I know what I've got for salary cap space. I know what I've got for players that are going to be coming back. And in the middle of the season, when people are like, they're going to make the playoffs, he says, I'll wait. And that was it. That was the key play. That fact that we're sitting here now with the Patriots at 8-4 is because Bill Belichick didn't take that free $25 million and go crazy. He waited. He let the season go through. Everyone, like you, were like, oh, they got to go through rebuild. And instead, it was just him saying, I'm only a few pieces short. I'll wait. And now we're seeing the fruits of it.
And don't look now, but the New England Patriots, if the Baltimore Ravens slip up and lose to the Cleveland Browns tonight, New England Patriots are the number 1 seed in the AFC. So I want to know from you guys. I know you sigh and you don't want to hear it.
I don't.
You don't want to hear it because look, I know what it's like. When you're a fan of a team like for me with the I can't say the Bears over the last few years, but for me with the Cubs over the last few years, I hate them when they're fair or when they're all of a sudden they're winning, and people are like, oh, they're going to be this or they're going to be that. I mean, I know Tori, probably hated hearing it going into the playoffs when I started talking about the Brewers were probably the scariest team in the National League. You don't want to hear that about your team, but it's a fact. If the Ravens lose tonight, the New England Patriots are the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yep.
And they're heading into Monday Night Football Showdown next week.
They have it for this week because apparently nobody wants to hold on to it for more than a week.
Get ready for the conspiracy birds to come out, by the way, like crazy, that the refs are going to get paid to make sure that the Browns win tonight so that NFL can sell the Bills Patriots for the number 1 seed. But it's going to happen if the Browns
we all know all the refs are paid by Green Bay anyway. But anyway, Are the New England Patriots going to win the AFC East? I'm not going to ask about the AFC. Are they going to win their division?
Are they going to win their division? Yes, I think they are. They just have to split with the Bills. Be competitive with the Colts. I said they had to split these next 4 games. They split the next 4 games, including a split with the Bills. They can easily win the last 2 games. And then they walk out with about 11 or 12 wins when I was expecting them at best at 10. And that's enough to win this division because we've seen from the Buffalo Bills, the difference is that the Buffalo Bills, when they've lost bad. The New England Patriots, when they've lost close. It's a big difference right now. And that this team understands what it takes to win. And when you don't have just all the superstar players, what you need to do. And I think we saw a year with the Bills where Josh Allen, I love Josh Allen. I said he was the next guy to take over the role from Tom Brady in AFC East, and he only got a season out of it, seems like, because there was so much like, we got Diggs, we got the best defense, we got Allen, and yet where are the fundamentals? And Bill Belichick is driving fundamentals. And after this game, I know the final score makes it look great, but I'm sorry, that was not a good game for the Patriots. He's going to rip them apart for tackling, absolutely destroy them for lack of tackling, lack of filling gaps on defense and everything like that. And then no red zone offense. They couldn't score. They drove to the red zone, and Mac Jones almost threw a pick 6. Put one up there to go for Hunter Henry that he's lucky that he didn't actually put it on Hunter Henry because that ball's probably getting picked. There's a lot of mistakes. So that's the difference. It is in the fundamentals between the Bills and the Patriots. It's hard to compare everything to Bill Belichick. I'm not saying that in a bragging way.
They've only had one loss that's been by more than 6 points. That was to the Saints in week 3.
Yep.
But other than that, all their losses have been by 6 points or less.
And that game against the Saints, it was an 8-point game in the fourth quarter. It was a 1 possession. Yeah. Now, Peyton knew what to do. He threw Hill in there and completely, changed up the Pats' mindset of what they were doing. And it was too little too late to adjust. Great play by him. But the reason I sighed and everything, that people are like, oh my God, you spoiled Patriots fan. Really, the one thing I did not want, I said it to you last week. I either wanted the Patriots to win close or to lose close and to have some type of humbleness put on them. I hope Bill rips them apart this week for their lack of tackling. They got 2 big fumbles on run plays. If it's not for that, you got a completely different situation in this game. Mac got very lucky on 2 big throws. I hope he rips them apart to keep them humble, because if the Browns tonight win and they have the number 1 seed in the AFC, I just don't want it going to their heads, because you have the Bills, the Colts, the Bills. You could go 0-3 in those games. And then all of a sudden, to Tori's point, first seed in the AFC flips around. They may be looking at the 7th seed if they lose those 3. They may be out of playoff contention with those. And Alpha
Rob comes in and says the Bills lost to Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. The Pats don't have that.
The Pats still haven't played. They haven't played the Colts yet. So
no, but I'm saying he's saying the Pats don't have the run game to beat the New England or to beat the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean today that's why I with Tennessee,
The
you and I
Buffalo
talk
Bills
about it all
don't
the
have a
time.
run game to let themselves win.
Yeah. I mean, you and I say it all the time, Copes. People just don't respect Derrick Henry, and we're seeing the difference in it. You know, Tannehill is not the same quarterback if he doesn't have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, I'm watching these runs for Tennessee today, and I'm like, Henry fit even as big as those were, and they had 2 100-yard rushers. Henry's finishing some of those runs. He's running over extra guys. He's not fumbling on that deep run that what's his face fumbled with today. That's the difference in that aspect. And they didn't have A.G. Brown. I stop bringing up Julio Jones, by the way, Tori and people in the comments. For the love of God, Julio Jones is done. He's not a viable option in any way, shape, or form besides getting fanboys all freaked out, just like any other, like Le'Veon Bell and old guys that signed with teams. Like his career's done. It's over, you know. But outside of that, they didn't face a formidable offense. They had a reduced Ryan Tannehill, no Derrick Henry, and no A.J. Brown. But at the same time, they did what they had to do. They won. And they won by the end of the game. They took it over. They won collectively. I just don't want it going to their heads. And that's my fear. I don't want it going to heads. I wish they had won that game 19-16 today.
Yeah. Look, I don't know if they're going to win the AFC. I don't know that they're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. I don't know that they're good enough to beat teams like Baltimore or to beat teams like Buffalo or to beat teams in the top tier of the AFC. But what I do know,
does it seem like any top team in the AFC is capable of beating the Jets, the lowly team? Like that's the thing. There's no
going with this. That's where I'm going with it. Is that what I do know is that there's a lot of parity in the NFL this year, and
I love it.
I think that counting out the Patriots at this point is silly. And I'm not saying that they're going to go out there. They're going to even win the division. Buffalo to me is still the best team in that division when they're playing right.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just don't like. It's like the whole don't bet against Tom Brady, right? Well, I tell you right now, I'm not betting against Bill Belichick either. I'm not putting my money against Bill Belichick. It's just not happening. And so I as much as I don't want to see it, and I don't, I like fans like Soup Boss who have been fans since before Drew Bledsoe and who can name me a quarterback before Drew Bledsoe. But I would say a good 70% of New England Patriots fans don't know what football was before Drew Bledsoe. And that's what drives me nuts. And that's why I don't root for the Patriots. That's why I don't root for the fan base, is because a majority of their fans have only been around since they've been winning Super Bowls. And they just want to yell at you all the time. I don't want to see them do it anymore. But I really want.
I completely disagree with that.
And we talked about this last week, Soup Boss.
We talked about it before.
I really, 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 really want a New England Patriots versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl this year.
I told you it would be the highest rated NFL game in the history of the sport. It would.
No, or nobody would watch because everybody hates both.
Opposite. No, everyone hates them, so everyone would watch it. Everyone wants to see the spectacle. Are you kidding me? It before this past Thursday game with, by the way, Dallas and Oakland just shattering rating record. I don't know if you guys saw that. The highest rated NFL game since 1997
Las Vegas, by the way, not Oakland anymore.
Oh yeah, Las Vegas. Sorry, but Patriots Bucks was the highest rated game since 1997, and then Vegas and Dallas broke it here. But I mean, if that's the Super Bowl, come on, it is just you're gonna have lovers, haters, don't carers. You're gonna have every person that's like, I don't know anything about football, but Tom Brady is so handsome. Like it's gonna have the whole world is gonna watch that game.
I would not watch that game.
And it would be,
yes,
it would be, you're so,
you're lying through your teeth right now.
You are
full
of
I'm
shit.
I'm telling you right now, I would not watch that game.
It is, you are a disgrace to a sports fan if you would not watch that game. Are you kidding me?
Because I hate
the
both
golden child going back to the Dark Empire to try to defeat the Sith Lord.
Tori, did you watch the World Series?
What a joke, Tori. You
didn't watch any of the World Series.
I didn't watch one game in the World Series.
We can't be friends anymore. I don't know.
Are you a sports fan or are you only just a Green Bay fan?
No, I'm a sports fan, but if I don't like the teams, I don't watch it.
If you don't like the teams, you don't watch it. So only the teams you like, you watch. That's it.
I only watch
you're on a sports show talking sports with guys about things that we talk about in the whole league, not just the Patriots and Bears, but we talk about, and you only watch the teams that you like. That's it. Like right now, the Browns and Ravens.
I have that on. I have that on in the background here.
So I'm guessing you like one of those teams then.
Oh, I like the Browns because they're lovable losers.
They're lovable losers.
So now you're like Drew. You've got you watch 28 teams in the NFL. So you like 28 teams in the NFL, but there's 4 you won't watch.
No, but I'm saying like I could care less about the Astros.
Just kidding, Drew. We love you.
I hate the Braves. So why would I watch them?
I can't stand the New York Yankees.
Oh God!
No, I'll give you one better. I can't stand the Sooners and their fans, and I live in the middle of Oklahoma, and yet I watched every damn minute of that OSU game because it was a damn good game. Who cares?
Like how good the Atlanta Braves are, how young and exciting they are to watch with Ozzie Albies, the whole day Joe with Jock Peterson, and like how do you not like? How did you not want to watch that World Series? I mean, you got Carlos Correa, you got Altuve. Granted, they're Astros and the whole cheating thing, blah 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 blah.
But the Astros.
But like this was probably one of the more exciting World Series to watch because of all those aspects.
Of the Astros?
Did you watch the Astros and Dodgers in 2017?
Nope.
You missed one of the greatest World Series of all time.
How do you
did you watch the Cubs in Indians in 2016?
So you just watch SportsCenter highlights? Do you even watch SportsCenter highlights?
You missed
or do you see them and go, I don't like it?
I don't even watch ESPN.
Oh my God.
Tori, you know how much I hate the Cardinals. Like I
will
watch
MLB
the
Network,
St. Louis
NFL
Cardinals.
Network, NBA TV, or
I hate the St.
NHL
Louis
channel.
Cardinals with every fiber of my being. I hate the Cardinals. I've seen them win the World Series twice. Like it sucks, but I still watch. What do you mean you don't watch?
If I don't, why would I watch something I don't care about?
Why would you watch the Super Bowl? It's the Super Bowl, Tori. It's not a random Tuesday night game. It's the
to me it is
Super Bowl.
To me it is. If I don't like the team,
the Buccaneers, the reigning champion versus Bill Belichick and the New England upstart Patriots. You're not watching that? You're full of shit.
You want to know how much shit? You want to know how much I watched in the Super Bowl? None, because I hate Brady. And I could care less. I could have cared less about the game.
If you don't watch
the Super Bowl,
there's something wrong. You can't take that damn Green Bay Packers stuff. That's why you don't watch the Super Bowl. They can't get past the NFC Championship.
Tori's been removed from the show. He has been fired from the Man Hour. He doesn't watch the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me?
I don't watch it when I don't care about the team.
You are fired, sir. Stop adding yourself.
Ah! Now I'm back. I have taken control.
You added yourself out.
I have
like, what the hell is going
control.
on?
Oh man, I don't get it. I don't.
It's me. It's just me from here on out. I have fired everybody. Everybody is fired. I am Zool.
And we are back and better than ever. Tori, your mic is muted, you freaking rookie.
That's because you muted it. It wasn't me. Come on, mute.
I told you we weren't getting through this whole rundown. It wasn't even my fault this time for talking
it was
to
your
you
fault.
much.
Tori, I don't get it. I don't get how you don't like.
What do you do, Tori? What do you do when everyone else in the world, people, because serious question, because most people outside of like World Cup, like or like top level Premier League soccer or football, the Super Bowl is the most watched event in the sports event in the world, while everyone else, including random women who like decide to choose who they're picking because of colors. No offense to women, there's dudes that do that too. What are you doing, Tori, while everyone else is watching the Super Bowl? And you're not.
Whatever.
Because of the 2 times the Packers have gone in the last 25 years. What are you doing?
Probably doing like my normal old person stuff, going to Costco, doing whatever.
Tori, there is no 2 fan bases in this world I can't stand more than Packers and Patriots. Packers and Patriots are 2 most like I hate both of those fan bases.
But my thing is you were missing the point.
If the Patriots played the Packers this year in the Super Bowl, I would watch.
Well, I would watch it too because the Packers are in it.
Oh my god!
But I'm saying I would watch it. The 2, like I hate both of them. I would hope that the stadium would implode, but I would still watch the game. I just,
Buck, I didn't have cable. I couldn't watch Dancing with the Stars before this year.
I don't know where to go from here. Like we're doing a sports show with someone. We talk sports all. No one's going to trust anything that's said. That
you don't even
Green
watch
Bay.
sports, Tori.
I don't watch teams I don't like. I follow it. I watch. I look at the stats. I watch everything on my phone. I just don't want to sit and watch those garbage teams play.
Those garbage teams, the 2 teams that make the Super Bowl, who happen to by record and by play are not garbage. I don't want to watch those garbage teams. I'm going for the weekend specials at Costco.
I know. I get it, Tori.
You're
tired. You're still angry from the NFC title game 2 weeks prior, and your team losing year after year after year in the game. I don't understand how you don't watch the Super Bowl.
I did wake up in the bathtub after that game.
Oh my god!
Were you missing a kidney? Like what the hell are we going with this story?
17 or 18 beers in a 3-hour stretch.
Oh, what's next?
No, but I don't.
We talked about the Patriots. What's next? Well, if we get to Green Bay or like Wisconsin, absolutely just like imploding.
All right,
we'll ask Tori about.
Oh no! Did you not watch the Badgers on Saturday? Because that team completely freaking imploded.
Let's talk about nobody watched.
Because even though I don't like Wisconsin, I still watch damn good sports on the freaking. It's sports. That's what we do, Tori.
All right, so we had football on Thursday. Tori probably didn't watch because he doesn't like any of the teams, and it was Thanksgiving. So Tori's out of this conversation. But Soup and I watched these games, and the Bills just they dominated the Saints, a Saints team that is without a quarterback, and they went out there and dominated. It sets up this Monday night matchup coming up next week. With the Bills and Patriots, going to be for the division lead, might even be for the number 1 seed in the AFC. All sorts of things could set this up. Are the Bills ready after this win versus the Saints?
Yeah, they are. You want to know why? Because they're ready to prove that they belong on top of the AFC. So this is what they've waited for. And like I said, last year was kind of like a weird off year for the Patriots. And the Bills proved they were good. But damn well, you and I, Combs, we're competitors. I don't know if Tori knows how to compete with anyone he doesn't like, but we're competitors. You want to be your best, and you want to win. I remember a team I was on that we went to the League World Series, and we dominated, and we went through undefeated, but we didn't play anyone that was like highly competitive. And then the next year, we lost 3 games, but we were more excited about that year because there was 2 teams that were just like, the juggernauts because we got moved up a league and we wanted to own them. We wanted to play. We wanted to show them that we were here to be able to do this. And there's so many other examples of that throughout my high school and semi-pro stuff and everything. The Bills want this. They want to be able to prove that they didn't win the AFC East just by the lack of Patriots, not having Tom Brady there anymore. They want to smack Bill Belichick and the Patriots in the teeth and go, no. Nice try. This is our division. We took it over, and we're going to prove to you that we own it. Damn right they're going to be ready for it. Damn right they're going to be ready. And they're going to come in ripping and roaring. Maybe that works to Bill's advantage to try to set up some game plan, but Bills are going to be ready. They're going to bring it.
Yeah. So, Tori, I know you didn't watch this game, but the Bills were, they were really, really good. They won by a lot of points. They put up 31 points. The offense looked like they were clicking on all cylinders. And, do you have any take on this game other than you don't like the Bills or the Saints, so you didn't watch? Or do you have an idea?
See, now I have a vested interest in that game because I have Stephon Diggs on my fantasy football team. However, it was Thanksgiving. And I will tell you, I was asleep by the time that game started. I was in bed. I was out cold.
That was a snooze fest of a game. Out of the 3 games, that was the most boring game. That was more boring than the Lions game.
Stop it.
It was?
That Lions-Bears game was atrocious.
That was
at least it was close. You had no idea who was going to win that game.
That was no, you win. No, you win. No, you win.
Yeah, you had no idea. Yeah. The Saints had nothing. The Saints had literally nothing.
I was watching the game mostly because we had a Thanksgiving disaster over at our place. My mother-in-law was going to buy the oil to deep fry the turkey. She bought a 3-gallon jug of oil when we needed 7.5 gallons of oil. So when we went to go fry up the turkey, we realized at 3:30 that we didn't have enough oil. And so we ended up having to put the bird in the oven. We didn't eat dinner till like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So by that time, we were already in the third quarter of the Bills and Saints by the time we were eating our dinner. But I was watching the game. Look, it was a good game. The Bills looked like the offense was finally back to scoring. This was the offense that was scoring 30-plus points on opponents earlier in the season. And then, in the last 3 to 4 weeks, they seem to have lost a little bit. But it looks like they found it again, and it looks like they're ready for New England. They did lose Trey, off that side. It's a huge loss.
That's a huge loss.
Huge loss for the Buffalo Bills. It's going to sting. But the Buffalo Bills are deep, and the Buffalo Bills are good. This is going to be the New England Patriots' toughest test. This is going to be their first real true test this season, is going to be this Buffalo Bills defense. And I'm very interested to see how it plays. How does Mac Jones play in the Monday night game, prime time, division on the line? How do you perform? That type of stuff. A lot of interesting stuff, but I definitely think that the Bills are ready.
Yeah, as a whole team unit, it's their first big test. I wouldn't fully agree. The game against Tampa Bay was not just some weird. I know you like to say because Tom going back emotions. There's a lot in it, but that offensive line for Tampa Bay is a hell of a good offensive line.
But did you expect them to compete with Tampa Bay though?
Yeah, I expected them to do well. Did I expect it to come down to a field goal at the end? No. Right. But I was predicting within 10 points, touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah.
I thought that they had the ability to because they were putting some good stuff together already. That defense has just been having Hightower back and signing Judon is just insane. But even guys that as a New England fan, you wouldn't know, Tori, because you don't like the Patriots. Guys like Kyle Van Noy coming back and things like that. They're those are.
He doesn't like Tom Brady either, so he definitely didn't watch that game.
Yeah, he didn't watch that game at all.
I did not. I did not watch the Brady versus Bill game.
But I got those Wheaties at Costco.
But you know what? It's because I was doing this show. It was a Sunday night game.
I'm watching the Sunday night game too, right?
You're watching the Sunday night game now?
Yeah. Do you see the corner where my hand is here? That's where my TV is.
Yeah, well, I'm not watching the game either. I've actually got the Blackhawks game on. So, but anyway.
What do you think our fans across the pond think of this show so far? Or our Brits, they're listening to this. They're like, what the hell is that?
They're like
typical Americans. Typical Americans just yelling. Going all John Wooey.
What's a Costco?
So the Las
Greatest place ever.
The Las Vegas Raiders ruined Thanksgiving in Dallas.
What a game!
No, they made my Thanksgiving.
I loved it.
Did you watch the game? Like, who are you a fan of, the Raiders or the Cowboys?
Yeah, who are you? Or who's on your fantasy team?
So the guy I was playing had 3 guys going in that game.
If you know, like,
And
the special teams
Tony,
coaches, do you watch the games because you like the special teams?
You know, special teams is often the difference between winning and losing. So those guys are extremely important. You should not belittle the special teams coaches like that.
Hey, I didn't. I played on a lot of special teams stuff. I'm
Patrick
belittling
Seeley
you for
chimes in and says Mac
terrible.
will be the first rookie to win the Super Bowl.
No, oh God,
No.
stop! Oh.
There went the kiss of death. Mwah! Mwah!
That's why I put it up there.
But Benjamin, I'm sure you're listening, Ben. I know he listens to this every once in a while. He just doesn't log in or comment or anything. I think he's that phantom commenter sometimes on Facebook. But Ben put the post, Patriots will win the Super Bowl this year, and I had to just put like a GIF on there, like, you need to relax. You need to be calm. You need to shut up. Like, stop. And he's like, just give me this today. And I'm like, no, I will always be here. I will always be the one that says, you need to shut up. You need to stop.
God. So are the Raiders that good, or is Dallas not as good as we thought they were?
I'll let you have the story. You like
time
on here.
Time out. I'm going to address this first. Because 2 weeks ago, or actually a week ago on Sunday, Drew, you said I root for anybody that plays against the Packers. So you have no.
Tori, it's Drew. It's Drew. He's got 17 favorite teams. He's got a bunch of teams that he hates and roots against. But I'll tell you this:
at least he watches
the games.
At least he has reasons to watch them. In fact, if you like a bunch of teams and hate a bunch of teams, you have reason to watch them either way.
Only if I got money on the line with it. It's the only way I'll watch it, or if I actually like the team. Although there's nothing interesting for it.
Tori, are the Raiders that good, or is Dallas not as good as we thought they were?
Dallas is not as good as we thought they were. You know why? Because I've been saying it since week 1. Their head coach is trash. I had to watch the guy for the last 3 years in Green Bay call the same plays that he was calling for the last 10 years. The guy can't adapt to today's NFL. He is terrible. As soon as teams catch up to him, and he's down Amari Cooper right now. I'll give him a little slack because he's down in Amari Cooper. So, but still
has a ton of weapons.
Right. You still have weapons galore everywhere on the field. And it's what I said. The first sign of trouble, Mike McCarthy will abandon the run. And that's why I will always say Ezekiel Elliott is an overrated running back right now for the Dallas Cowboys, because he will go as far away from him as he can. And you saw it a little bit on Thursday night. He was swapped out Ezekiel for Tony Pollard because they were going to have to start chucking it.
That's not abandoning the run, though, when Pollard is still running the ball, getting 100-yard games, hitting the gap, getting 8, 9, 10, 11-yard rushes. Yeah, I don't think he's abandoned the run. I just think Ezekiel Elliott should be the guy that when Dak can't do it himself, should be up there and saying, put the team on my back, feed me the ball.
But he proved
There's
last
something wrong
year
with him because he's not.
He proved last year he couldn't do that. When Dak went down, that should have been his team, his time to shine, and he was a trash running back as soon as
because
Dak was
they had
gone.
no passing game. They stacked the box. They had no. What were you afraid of? You were afraid of Andy Dalton was going to beat you? Were you afraid that who the hell else was? I don't even know the damn guy's name.
That same Andy Dalton that led you to a Thanksgiving Day win. You have no.
You shut your freaking mouth right now.
You are not even a Bears fan.
They scored 16 points against the 09-1 Lions.
You have no appreciation.
16 points.
They
couldn't even get over 20.
It was Thanksgiving, Brandon. Be thankful.
For all of our listeners on Goodpods who may have been downloaded this episode and have headphones on, we apologize for the damage done to your eardrums in this episode. Both I and Combs are trying our best to just, not make you want to turn it off listening to Tori, but we're doing our best here. We're doing our best.
Drew says yes. He did say that about the Packers, but he said the only time he'll root for the Packers is when they're playing the Cowboys.
He finds a vested interest to watch any game because it's probably going to be a good game.
Watches any game, even if he hates the two teams.
I mean, it's called having a life outside of it. Jeez, Brandon.
A life? You go to Costco, Tori.
I love Costco. You shut your whore mouth about Costco.
People that go to Costco go there for the khaki short specials for $6.99.
Oh God, you
in
don't
the 4 different colors.
You do not go there to buy clothes.
Costco, that's a life. I'm not saying it's wrong to
Sam's
shop at Costco,
Club,
but
baby.
you gotta have a life.
It's a way of
you
life.
told us that what you do when the Super Bowl is on is go to Costco.
God.
Yeah, if I don't like the team, screw that. Why would you watch something you don't care about?
Oh my God.
Because I like sports. I
Well,
hate
I do
OSU
too.
and
Hey,
OU.
hey,
But I love that game. I love that
Super-
damn game, and I love
Super-
watching OSU and OU go back and forth with each other and play a damn good football game. Why? Because it was damn good. It's sports. That's why we enjoy it. We like it.
So
we like
let's
to
talk
watch
some
good
sports.
events.
You and I, let's talk some sports here. How do the Cowboys rebound, Sue? We would ask Tori, but he doesn't know because he doesn't watch them.
Man, how did the Cowboys rebound? It's quite simple. You stay in the NFC East. Oh, good for them. That was nice and easy for them. The Cowboys, I'll agree with Tori. They're not as good as the way as what they show. If every element of their team is clicking, if Dak is on his game, if Zeke can actually run the ball, if they have all their healthy players. I mean, they've gotten a good young rising star out of Schultz as their tight end, by the way, too. Love that kid, watching him, really good guy. But you need everything. You need your defense to be on top of their game, not be wishy-washy. You need the offensive line to do the same, not only seem to be able to open up gaps for Pollard. I know he's a smaller guy than Zeke, but suddenly it gets closed up for Zeke. Like, they can't hold that opening for an extra half a second. They have to be able to click on all cylinders, and they can't. They just can't do it. I've watched almost every single living in Oklahoma. Dallas Cowboys are on all the time. I've watched nearly every single one of their games. And even the games that they've won and dominated, you watch them and you go, against some other good defenses, they're not getting that play, or they're not scoring that, or they're not getting that gap. They're not that good of a team. They benefit from being in a complete trash division. Absolute trash. I love being an AFC East fan, and people talk about how trashy my division is as a fan, and yet the NFC East is just hot, flaming garbage. And we saw it from Philadelphia this weekend, where we thought, hey, they're gelling, they're getting better, they're starting to get, and they just laid a goose egg against the Giants. The Giants look good, but really, they only scored 13 points. Those two beat each other up for a 13-7 whoop-de-doo game. Unless you're a fan of either team, I guess it'd be the only reason you watch it, but that's the what's going to benefit.
Just making my point.
I was making that as a joke towards you, you freaking fool. Sarcasm. Do I need the sign?
Yes.
They play in a hot garbage division. That's what's going to help them, is that they're going to face those teams later in the year. Man, I would love to see them just implode, and like the Washington football team find some way to go win this division at 7-9-1 or something crazy, or I don't know, but it's not going to happen. That's what benefits them. What we're going to see, Dallas is going to walk into these playoffs, and unless that whole team is clicking front to end, top to bottom, we're going to see everything Tori was talking about with Mike McCarthy. I don't know what he's doing. Like, if you ask,
he doesn't know how to adjust.
If you ask half of the sports fans in the NFL, if they would love to have a guy like Dak and Zeke and Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and that D line and everything to add to their team, and if it would help them, they would be like, yeah, we're Super Bowl bound. But for some reason, Mike McCarthy doesn't know what to do with them.
And that's how they're going to rebound is their schedule and being in this weak division, because they got the Saints this week. They've got Washington, the Giants, Washington, the Arizona Cardinals is their only remaining tough opponent left, and then they close out the season in Philadelphia. I don't see them losing more than maybe one, maybe two games. They might lose a game that they're supposed to win there, but they've got every chance to get that offense clicking. They're going to get murdered in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're just going to get annihilated. They're not that good. They probably won't even win the first round game. And this is the team that Buck had going to the Super Bowl. Surprise, surprise.
I will. For any Cowboys fan listening to this show, I will put a bet right now with anyone that isn't some astronomical money, like wearing something stupid on the show or anything like that. I don't care who it is. Stating right now, whoever the Cowboys play in the first week of the playoffs, they're losing that game.
Unless it's the Patriots, right? Because Rock says McCarthy has a winning record against Belichick.
Oh, wow.
Except they wouldn't be able to play till the Super Bowl.
Yeah, can't play till the Super Bowl. First round of the playoffs. NFC. They play in two
Soup,
different
you
sides.
just said they're going to the Super Bowl.
Who?
The Patriots.
No, I did not
But
say
he
they're
just
going to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
Well,
I
he's
heard
already got me fired
I
up,
heard it-
Holmes. I've
I
already
already-
screamed enough.
I-
You don't need more. I've
already
thrown
heard-
you up and down a room on plenty of broadcasts. You don't need to be pulling this crap all of a sudden just because my blood is pouring out of my eardrums right now. You can't see it because of the damn hand drums because Mr. freaking Costco doesn't watch the Super Bowl. But we got him on the show.
All right. We got Soup's blood boiling. Now let's get my blood boiling. The Lions lost in Lions fashion on Thursday.
Ryan Pace for GM of the year.
You shut your whore mouth.
Matt Nagy, coach of the year.
Soup. Are the Lions going to win a game this year?
Oh, they've got one left for the chance to do it. Combs, I said it to you. They got 2 wins this year, and I said it was going to be on Thanksgiving against your Bears, with no offense to them, and I said it was going to be against the Falcons. And they lost their chance on that. And, man, you talk about – I'm so sick and tired of hearing fans blame refs all the time and everything like that when their teams are just barely miss a win. But, I mean, if there's fans that probably could find some way to make some complaint about how they could have won and didn't win, it would be Detroit Lions fans who have lost 3 games by a field goal at the end of the game, including an NFL record. And yet the only team I think they can beat is Atlanta. And before any Atlanta Falcons fans try to act like, no, there's no way. Your Atlanta Falcons only beat the Jaguars by a touchdown today. Like, they got trounced by the Patriots, and the Detroit Lions have found some way outside of a couple random games where I called an upset that they beat the Ravens. They got too high and mighty on the close Lions games. But outside of that, the Lions at least show heart. They show grit, and the Falcons just, they're not there. Like, Matt Ryan is dying on the field, literally. We see him like flopped in a different position every single week. If they didn't have Cordell Patterson, I don't know how the hell they would have any way of scoring.
Is he
I
the
think
best
that's
fantasy
it.
football pickup ever this year?
No kidding. And most leagues have him slotted. You can have him be a running back or a wide receiver, so you can flip-flop them all around to fill your gaps with all the injuries and
in
IR
our league,
moves.
I can only put him at receiver in our league,
Oh,
which kind
okay.
of sucks because I desperately need another running back.
I guess it depends on the league, but some leagues still have him listed as both. And I mean, he had rushes today.
107 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. But the Lions can beat the Falcons. Outside of that, I don't see how they beat.
See, I've got 3 games that they could possibly win. I don't know if they will win any of them, but I've got 3. I think they can win in Denver. Denver's one of those teams where you don't know who's going to show up week to week.
Did you see what Denver did today?
Denver. I'm gonna completely. I'm sorry, Denver fans. I'm gonna jinx them just like I did with the Eagles. But Denver is finding a way to gel on both sides of the ball. And Torrey, special teams. They're making some great plays on special teams.
Hey, love for special teams coaches.
Okay, that was game 1 that you're picking, Combs. What else you got?
The other one is going to be against the Atlanta Falcons, like you say. But even the following week after that, the Seattle Seahawks, who are they just are not playing well. And they've lost a lot of games this year. And you just look at that team and you're like, what the hell is going on? And they're losing at home. They're losing these games at home.
You know what? Man, Combs, you may be onto something with that Seahawks game, because at that point, Seahawks aren't going to be in it. What do they have to prove? They've got players hurt. Russell Wilson's half dead. Like, they may shut most of their players down and put. And the Lions, of course, aren't going to do that. They want to win. They want to win.
And then, of course, always week 18 against the Green Bay Packers, because the Packers will be resting everybody because they'll have the division wrapped up next week.
I am worried that they go into that game still winless against the Packers and get that win, because they will do like they did against the Rams. They will pull every punch out. They will just be like, everything will be an onside kick or a fake punt or whatever, and they will do whatever it takes to win that game. And I really hope that the Packers are locked into either the 1 seed or the 2 seed by then, and can rest people, and it doesn't matter what they do. Because if not, I fear that game. I really do fear that game as a Packer fan. If we have to play for something, you are going to get the absolute best shot from a winless team, because they are going to be 0 Fs given by them in that game.
I've got a question pertaining to that potential matchup. Serious question here, because we've seen now the NFL going to 18 weeks, right? If the Packers, let's just say the Cardinals find a way to struggle. I know, Combs, you and I are high on them, but let's just say something happens and they have that head-to-head. Let's say going into the week before, they know that outside of a miracle, they've got the number 1 seed. Knowing that they've got the bye week 1, do you think that the Packers rest their players week 17 and then put Rodgers and them in 18 so that they don't get too rusty?
See, and I would agree with you. I would think that, and I actually like that philosophy, because it's been proven. If you sit your players in like the last week and then you have that bye week, you come in and you are not firing in all cylinders.
That's why with fantasy leagues this year, with the championship in week 17, I'm actually concerned that if there are teams now, thankfully in like the AFC, nothing's secure in that. But I really wonder if years moving forward, if they have that 1 seed secured and they're the only bye team, I wonder if they give their players the rest week 17, have them play 18 to not have too much rust before week 2 of the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense. It's, to me, it's the NFL version of batting the pitcher 8th.
So around the board, real quick, one word answer. Tori, do the Lions win a game this year?
Yes.
Soup?
Yeah, they win 1.
I'm going to go on a limb and say no. I'm going to say they don't win a game at all this year.
They win 1. Here's the 1 week they could do it. You're like, there are 3 weeks they could do it. But no.
They just find a way to lose. That's what they do. They could win 3 of those games, but they just find a way to lose. And that's what they do.
Take Tori's term from earlier this week about earlier this show about the Browns as level losers. Is there any other team that you feel worse about for their fans than the Detroit Lions fans? Like, I know you both are NFC North people. I know. I shouldn't have asked you to. But seriously,
well, no, I do. Like, I would tune in if the Lions made a Super Bowl. I would watch that one, and I would pull as hard as I could for the Detroit Lions to win a Super Bowl. I want the Detroit Lions to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
The Chicago, I hate you, Tori. The Chicago Bears had rumored
they will have
that
just as many Super Bowl trophies then as the Bears.
They were going to fire Matt Nagy after this week. There was rumors about it. Then they came out. McCaskey came out and said, no, the rumors were false, blah, blah, blah. He's staying on. And now there's also rumors that they're firing Ryan Pace. Soup, you asked me this question earlier on Sports Soup on Facebook. You said, hey, more rumors. And I was just, I'm not listening to the rumors anymore because, look, I don't think the Bears are even with a interim head coach. I don't think the Bears are winning another game this season. The schedule is just, it's stupid. Yeah, we got the Packers, we've got Minnesota twice, we've still got like the schedule. We got the Cardinals this coming week. There is not a game left on the schedule that the Bears can win.
Nope.
So I'm semi past the fact that Nagy's going to be on for the rest of the season. You, Tori, have said that they're giving Ryan Pace an extension. That they're not firing Ryan Pace at the end of the year. I said that there's no way.
I didn't say they were giving him an extension. I said Ryan Pace would stay on.
They would have to. He's at the end of his contract. He's at the end of his contract.
Then that would be a renewal, not an extension.
Right. So they're not. There's no way you're not letting Ryan Pace pick another coach. So I'm going to ask you guys, are the Bears going to get it right this offseason? Are they going to let these guys go and start from the top down and rebuild this thing and try to get it right for Justin Fields and for this defense and give them an opportunity to win over the next 3 to 4 years? Or are they going to keep one of these 2 buffoons or both of these 2 buffoons and just totally make me actually climb that bell tower?
The bell tower. I just don't see if there's any way. I say this as if I want to give them credit for their ability to think through things when they've proven, no offense, Combs, they can't.
I agree with you.
I just don't see how you just don't say, okay, we tried. We gave both of these individuals their own team that wasn't from the coaching staff before, their ability to do things they should have done. They snuck into the playoffs last year, but like, how do you watch what's happened and not make the move? It's going to be, you and I talked about it, Combs. Do they make the right decision in finding a coach that's going to know how to manage that whole team? And are they going to give him the leash long enough to be able to make it his own team and find a GM and allow him to get a QB coach that can work directly with Fields more, and to get a GM who says, listen, ownership, let me make the decisions here. That's my concern. Do they replace them? I think so. Are they going to make the right decision in replacing them? I don't know. I just don't know how much they're going to let the coach and GM of this Bears team just say, back off. You hired me for a reason. It's time to put Chicago back on the map where they belong. Let me manage this. That's what they need. I don't know if they're willing to do that.
Tori?
I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say Ryan Pace stays. They give him 2 to 3 more years because, and based solely off of the draft that he had a masterful draft. Whether or not it was pure luck or what is up to be seen. They're going to let him pick another coach. I am telling you this right now. They are going to let Ryan Pace pick one more coach for that team and really get it developed.
I purposely
who that coach?
I put him up to see if I can get a reaction out of you.
whoever the new coach would be, Eric Bieniemy. Because they really like going to that Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator and destroying careers. So, I mean, it's just pretty much a foregone conclusion. They're just going to hire Bieniemy.
Yeah, look, I would like to hire a Bieniemy because I think Bieniemy is different than what you've gotten off of that tree out in Kansas City. The Chicago Bears, like it scares me that Tori might be right about Ryan Pace, but there is no organization other than maybe the Chicago Bears, maybe the Houston Texans, that would allow a GM in Ryan Pace's position to pick another head coach, to go at it again when what you're going to do, say you let Ryan Pace pick another head coach, say it's the wrong head coach, say he doesn't go with Bieniemy, say he goes with whoever he decides to choose, right? And they come in, and much like Matt Nagy, they don't know what to do with Justin Fields. They don't know how to develop the kid, or they don't bring in the right. You are giving this guy the opportunity to ruin the first ever franchise quarterback you've ever had in your organization. And I don't get it. Like I it would boggle my mind. And to be honest with you, like I don't know how I would react as a Bears fan if they came out to me after the season and said, you know what, we've let Matt Nagy go, but we're retaining Ryan Pace. Because to me, that's just that it boggles my mind. How can I, as a guy who sits here with some idiot who doesn't even watch sports but talks sports,
hey, Soup can hear you talk about him,
and Soup Boss sit here on the show with you guys and can see all the issues
that
are going on in this organization, but the Bears ownership can't see it. The Bears ownership doesn't know what move to make. The Bears ownership doesn't know what way they want to go with it. And Ryan Pace, to me, lost his job the second that he allowed Matt Nagy to come back this year. The second that he decided, you know what, Matt Nagy is going to be the guy to lead Justin Fields. A great pick, great trade, great move by Ryan Pace. So what are you going to do with this kid? We're going to give him to Matt Nagy, who already showed that he couldn't lead one guy, the quarterback whisperer,
got them to the playoffs last year. Got him to the awesome Nickelodeon playoff game last year.
But this goes back to what I talked about earlier, though, Brandon. It goes like earlier in the year when I talked about that's why they're going to bring Ryan Pace back, and that's why they're going to let Ryan Pace pick another coach because the defense is there. they've got some good pieces on that offense, and they need to build. All they need to do is build that offensive line and give Fields that experience with whatever playbook he's going to be reading out of next year. The pieces are there, and that's why Ryan Pace is keeping his job.
It would make zero sense to allow that to happen. I mean, Soup, am I wrong? Like, is this just me thinking as a Bears fan that it would be insane to allow Ryan Pace to pick another head coach?
Yeah, I 100% think that's the case because Nagy was his choice. And through that, he got Fields. And it was his choice. It was his chance as a GM to say, here's my coach, and here's the quarterback we choose. And I know it's a joke, and everyone laughs and everything like that, but I'm sorry, they still did at least make the playoffs last year. You would think, okay, now we've got a new year of our players, our system, we snuck into the playoffs. We went and got our quarterback, everything like that. Like, here's the year to prove that you could take one more step. Not saying they're going to, be a high seed or get to the Super Bowl or anything, but they should have taken a step forward, not 15 steps back. This has been an absolutely terrible step backwards for Chicago. You can't. I just don't understand how you could sit there and go, it's just an off year. It's because we had the first year rookie. Like, give me a chance to get another coach. No, you picked the coach. You said Nagy was the coach. You said that this was the guy that was going to be able to do it. Then you went out and got your quarterback, and what you've shown is I put these two things in the pot and mixed it up, and it came out with snot tasting cake. Like, this is terrible.
And it's not even like they're losing games. It's not like they're like the Lions, right? It's not like they're losing games on last second field goals, and they're losing games and their quarterback is progressing. We're watching the inability of a head coach to make adjustments. We're watching the inability of a head coach to realize what his quarterback's strengths and weaknesses are. We're watching a head coach that is showing that he can't do the things that are needed to be done by a head coach in the NFL. And Ryan Pace is the one who put that head coach in place. And this is his second head coach, by the way. This is the second one that he's picked in his tenure.
And who is his first one?
John Fox. I would take John Fox back in a heartbeat. What Ryan Pace did to John Fox, that should have been the time that they fired Ryan Pace. When Ryan Pace went out and got Mitch Trubisky, but didn't even tell John Fox. John Fox had to read about it on his phone when he got the freaking the ESPN update as to who the Bears drafted. That, to me, that is just horrible. That is horrible leadership shown by a GM that you put in place that said this was his guy. Mitch Trubisky was his guy. We don't need Deshaun Watson. This guy's going to be better than Deshaun Watson.
That call, by the way, for him over Deshaun Watson, do you remember why they drafted him? That wasn't because of the GM. That was because the owner of the Bears went to the senior game, fell in love watching Trubisky in the senior game, and said, "That's my guy." Again,
let's be honest, Soup Boss.
That's my
because
point.
The owner of the Chicago Bears went to that game and saw that they had a black quarterback or a white quarterback, and they chose the white quarterback.
Fine.
And they finally got over it. It went and got Justin Fields.
If we want to bring in race elements to it, if we want to bring in decision making because of what he saw, I don't care what. All it says is that the owner plays. I'm a Longhorns fan, and it drives me nuts this season because I saw before the year started, and I knew they were going to be terrible, is the boosters made the shots. They said what's going to happen. And now you see that they had the quarterback that shouldn't have been there started the season. Now there are reports coming out that Sark couldn't play certain players because they were black, because boosters didn't want them to. It's just the most disgusting thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not letting coaches do their job. And now the Bears have shown through their ownership, like in New England, Bob Kraft, he says some stuff, but at the end of the day, he trusts Bill Belichick to do his job. Why? Because he hired him to do a job. The Bears ownership is proving they're not going to let a GM and a coach do their job.
Yeah.
It's going to be, they're going to say, hey, yeah, but this is what we want. Yeah, I know you've got to be the one that makes the call to the player in the draft, but this is what we want. And that's the thing, is that I don't think that means that either the GM or the coach here are the right option for Chicago. But my fear is that they're going to let them go and just bring in two other meat puppets to stand in those two places so the ownership can say, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we want to do. And until they change ownership there, or those owners can get out of their old plantation ways of mode of thinking and step the hell out of the way and let the people that they hired do their job and stop micromanaging, it's never going to change. And
Does
Chicago's
Matt
gonna be
Nagy
stuck in
ever
this rut.
coach in the NFL again as a head coach?
No,
If
Adam Gase can get 3 head coaching jobs, there's hope for Matt Nagy.
I understand that point, but I don't think that there's any way you can watch what Matt Nagy has done.
But
not only what he did with when he had Mitch Trubisky, but what he's done this year with Justin Fields. Like the inability to understand the fact that this guy is not a 5 to 7 step drop type quarterback. And to continuously drop him out in the 5 to 7 step drops with an offensive line that doesn't block for anything.
What was Belichick's record? His first 2 stops.
Before he was a Patriot.
Before when he coached the Browns.
Technically, he coached the Jets for like 12 hours.
Right, and then he was
with the Browns and the Giants.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Head coach. He wasn't. With the Browns, he was a terrible head coach on his first gig.
Terrible. Don't make my evil Sith Lord loving ass put the facts on you about why Cleveland made the hugest mistake of getting rid of Bill Belichick as he was coming through his coaching tenure, including getting them to their last playoff appearance in his last year there. He was on the way up. And you know what? It was Super Bowl or bust for Cleveland, who felt that they should have been there. And so they got rid of him because he got a crap team to the playoffs and was building them in just a few years. He wasn't a terrible coach. It's just that he didn't go in and win a Super Bowl, but he got them to the playoffs, and that wasn't good enough.
I knew I would touch a nerve with that one.
I just brought the facts on it. That's all.
Which is good, but still, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah, maybe you should have. But thank God, Buck. That Mac Jones is sitting behind Cam Newton this year for that rookie season, huh? We all know.
I mean, I'm all on board with Cam Newton. I'm all on board with sitting a rookie QB.
Yeah, well, Mac Jones is proving you to be stupid again.
But the thing
we've already proven that to be a stupid theory.
With any other coach besides Belichick, he's probably not having the success that he's having.
I agree with. I said Mac Jones going into New England was the best fit for Mac Jones.
The same success, no, but I think that on any of the other teams is given a chance compared to the other rookie quarterbacks. He probably is outside the comparison. I people are forgetting about. I know because it's Jacksonville, but Trevor Lawrence is putting together quite an impressive rookie season down there on just a joke of an NFL team.
Yeah.
I almost think that if you put Trevor Lawrence on the New England Patriots, you may be seeing them sitting right now at like 10-2. Like I'm not trying to like overblow Trevor Lawrence, but man, he's doing some good stuff down there in Jacksonville. He's impressing a lot of people.
Now I'm going to bring up my favorite player in this draft that I love to talk about. And that's Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's a prime example of why you shouldn't play a rookie.
Well, he was a joke. He was a stupid pick. I was so happy that the Jets picked him. I said it before the draft started. That's going to be a waste of pick, whoever gets him. And I was saying, if he was the only quarterback left at 15, I pray to God that Bill Belichick pulled a Bill Mood and traded that pick away for like 15 other round 2 through 6 picks, and then just went through the draft that way and picked a 3rd round quarterback, because Zach Wilson in no way, shape, or form ever impressed me before this draft enough. He played some flashy games at BYU, but did not have the skill set to be an
mark
NFL
the time on that. Me and Soup agreed on something.
I know. Soup, I don't understand, because I don't agree with you with the Trevor Lawrence thing. I don't agree that he's putting together impressive, even with I know that they're garbage down there, and I know it's a bad team, but the guy's only completing 58% of his passes. He's thrown more interceptions than he's thrown touchdowns. What's impressive about that?
Trevor Lawrence is doing it. Goes beyond just the stats, and you got to actually read some things that opposing coaches are saying, opposing coordinators are saying. Teams coming in and studying the Jaguars before they play him are saying it's his field composure. It's him calling audibles on the play. It's him placing players in positions that are out of position. It's him reading defenses.
But is that still part of people still just being in love with him because he's Trevor Lawrence, though? No, because what better way than to prove that a number one pick is
a wasted pick. Like when other coaches are saying, hey, like he's got the skill set. He's got the skill set. And remember, we're thinking about Mac Jones at 8-4. And even though I came in here completely destroyed the conversation with Buck and Tori about you sit them the first year, you don't. Rookie quarterbacks still are not going to be highly successful. The Peyton Manning aspect. What happened? And before everyone loses their minds, I'm not putting Trevor Lawrence and Peyton Manning in the same damn category. So everyone relax before I make this next statement. But when Peyton Manning had his first year, it was disastrous. I don't know if anyone remembers, but what coaches were saying coming in was going, he gets the game. He's making reads the right way. He's putting players in different places. He knows when to call the right audibles. He just played on a really, really terrible team that he was trying to fit things in and force things in. And it took the right type of coaching in every element to get in and get the right team around them. Again, we talk about it all the time. It's not one player on a football team that can do it all by themselves, but you got to have a great player. Trevor Lawrence is at least showing coaches and scouts and stuff like that he's got the skill set there to do that. It's just he plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and until there's a good system and a good set of teammates around him, he can't be successful, but he's doing all the right things. He's making huge mistakes. He's also still a rookie. And I saw it today with Mac Jones. He was still a rookie today. He's very lucky with a couple of the throws that he had today. They were rookie throws. That's going to happen. So I don't know. I know the stats don't back that up, but the stats didn't back it up year one with a lot of other future good quarterbacks. And I'm not predicting Trevor Lawrence is going to be some amazing, NFL quarterback, especially if he stays on the Jaguars, but he's showing a lot of great stuff. And a lot of coaches are backing that up with what they say about him.
So let's ask this question then. Let's go a little. I mean, we've kind of done the whole show off script, but let's go off script then. You've got the.
I told you. What was the point of writing an essay for a script with this show? It never works out that way.
You've got Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance, right? The big five, the five quarterbacks taken in this draft. I mean, I know there was more than five, but those are the big five quarterbacks taken in this draft. If you put them all in the same situation, in the same boat, say they're all with New England. Say you take each one and you drop them into New England for a year.
That depends on the system.
Who's the better quarterback? Who's the at the end of the year or at the end of a season, who has the better season?
And to see what you said was if you dropped him in a system and you use New England, but at the same time put Justin Fields in Kansas City, and I think he's going to do better than Mac Jones.
Well, put Justin Fields anywhere where there's a coach that's not named Matt Nagy, and he does better than he is now.
Put Trevor Lawrence in Green Bay, and I think he does better than Justin Fields. We talk about it all the time. Okay. It takes the system on top of the player.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I think the top three quarterbacks are Mac and Trey Lance and Justin Fields. And I begged the NFL gods to not let the Zach Wilson and Trey Lance drop to the Patriots at 15. I didn't want it. I never saw anything in scouting those two individuals that made me say that they were ready for the NFL. You could be a great college player and not be able to play in the NFL. That's okay.
Don't you think that Zach Wilson ending up with the New York Jets is a big reason of why he hasn't shown flashes of brilliance like Mac Jones has in New England?
Part of it, but when you throw a football into your own player's back when he's not even looking at you and isn't a part of the route for an interception today against the Houston Texans, that shows an incompetent ability to understand what you're supposed to do. That's what I'm talking about, is that Trevor Lawrence is getting praised by scouts and coaches and everything about him understanding the system, understanding what needs to be done, understanding how to make calls and to read the field a little bit better. And he's still getting owned by well-coached and better understood teams on defense. Zach Wilson's doing none of that. You don't hear any coaching staff talk about this stuff at all about Zach Wilson. It's why like all the pump and praise for him in the combine and in the draft, I was so pumped for. And when he landed with the Jets, obviously as a Pats fan, I couldn't have been more thrilled, because to me it was a joke. And there are no coaches or anything saying that Zach Wilson, he might be in a part of a bad system, but he's showing what it means to understand the game. He's got a couple players on the Jets I've read that have said, hey, when he gets knocked down, he doesn't come on the sideline and hang his head and feel bad for himself. That's good. But that's it. That's the only praise I hear about Zach Wilson.
See, I disagree with Buck here. Buck says Zach has no coaching there. Look, I think Robert Saleh is
I think Robert Saleh is going to be a great coach.
Yeah.
I would like to nominate Javier Gonzalez as the #1 Man Hour fan of all time.
So Robert Saleh is a good coach. I look at the way his teammates don't interact with him, like they were doing with Mike White. Like Mike White's teammates were fired up, and they were right there as soon as he made a mistake.
It's the Fields Dalton thing we talked about, Combs.
Right.
Yeah.
You do not see them rally around Zach Wilson at all. And if that's going to be your leader, you've already set a stage, and that's a problem. Because your leader should, if something good happens, they should all be getting fired up. If something, bad happens, you know what? They would huddle around and be like, hey, man, you got this. He may not be hanging his head, but he's also not being praised by his teammates either, or picked up when something good does happen.
Yeah, like I said, that's the only positive thing I can find. It's literally a couple teammates saying, "Hey, he doesn't let it, get him depressed." But to your point, they're not. When Mike White was in there, they were all for him. Just like I said, Justin Fields, they're not all around Dalton, all pumped for him, but Justin Fields rushes for a touchdown in that first game they put him in, and that offensive line was losing their minds. That's the difference. That means behind the scenes, you're doing things that go beyond just the impact of what you play on the game. The game of football in the NFL is not just you stepping on the field and making the big plays. That's why we see certain players get big and flashy and everything. OBJ, for instance, because I know that's been a big dive topic. You make some great plays and everything, but once another team figures you out, you have to adjust. You have to study the game. You need to understand how to adjust with your body type, with the system you have, the team that's around you, your other teammates. And there's certain players that just don't do that, and they don't get that, and they don't make an impact with their team behind the scenes that we don't see. And that's true. Mike White, I mean, who the hell knew who Mike White was? And yet you did see it, to Tori's point. I was watching that game, and I said, wow, they're excited for this guy.
They would rally around him. You do not see that. And everybody's like, well, the rookie's got to earn the respect. He's got to do. No, if you're doing positive things behind the scenes and doing what you need to be a successful leader on your team, those things should be already happening. You do not see it with them. They are just like, meh. And they could score a touchdown and they just walk off the field. It's not like there's people running over to congratulate Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Not like it was Mike White. Mike White, they would get fired up because he would just walk up to them and he would encourage them.
To Drew's point, this is Mike White's third year with the Jets. I mean, he's been with this team. He knows the players.
Yeah, I don't think it's his third year with them.
It's his second. He was in Dallas for a year.
Yeah. In fact, this is his third team in 4 years.
Yeah. So in 2000, actually, I take that back. Last year, he was in Dallas. Mike White was, I think.
Time to do some
because when Cooper Rush,
way to make you look foolish, Drew.
When Cooper Rush, because Cooper Rush got cut by the Cowboys last year, and I think that was the spot that Mike White took, I think, in Dallas.
Yeah, but it's Zeke's fault, not Cooper Rush. Jeez, on Crow. Oh, well, let's take another break, and when we get back, we're gonna get into some way or no way. Soup's gonna fact check some stuff. Tori's gonna not watch some teams that he doesn't like, and I'm gonna go pee. We'll be back.
Let's go, Brady.
And we are back. So far, we've talked about stuff that, Tori doesn't like to watch, like threesomes and ramming it in, and something about Dutch.
And pulled from YouTube.
But we've also talked about how Tori doesn't like to watch teams that he doesn't like, and he wouldn't watch the Super Bowl unless the Packers are playing in it or something. And I don't know. He is what he is. But before we get on to Way or No Way, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Mount Greenwood girls 8th grade volleyball team. Aubrey plays on the team. They went out and won the St. Lawrence tournament this weekend. They went undefeated all weekend long. Team was very impressive. Even when they fell behind in a couple of sets, it seemed like they played harder and better as a team. So congrats to the Mount Greenwood girls 8th grade volleyball team and their championship victory. So you guys ready for some Way or No Way?
Let's do it.
Tori, I would have invited you, Tori, but I was afraid you didn't like one of the teams and you wouldn't want to watch.
No, I gotta not like both of the teams.
All right, guys. It is time for Way or No Way. You guys know how this works. I bring up some topics. You guys tell me whether it's a way or a no way. We argue about it. We yell at each other. And then we move on. So, first one here. Way or no way?
The show that we've been doing for the last hour and a half?
Basically, yeah. Way or no way? Alabama should not be ranked in the top 6 when the college football rankings come out.
I'm going to let you, Tori, go into this because I'm about to absolutely lose my ever-loving mind with this question.
I'm going to go with way because there again, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, Alabama, it doesn't matter what Alabama, it's almost the same thing as Ohio State. They could lose to somebody, doesn't matter who, and if they're ranked number 2, they'll drop to like 6. But if it's, say, like, I'm going to use Buck's alma mater, I'm going to say Kansas State is having an amazing season, and they get up to rank number 2 in the country, and they lose to, Texas, who's not terrible, but not great.
Texas sucks.
Well, I was going to use Kansas, but because they're even worse. But say they lose.
Kansas beat Texas. Trust me, Texas sucks.
But if they lose that game, they're dropping out of the top 10. And it's the same, and it would be the same thing with in Ohio State if they were in play. They do. Alabama is that because Alabama brings money to the college football playoff because they bring that fan base and everything else. I swear to God, and this is why they need to do something about the way the system is set. However, I don't think they're one of the top 4 teams in college football. They lost to a mediocre Texas A&M team. They barely beat
A&M team.
They barely beat Auburn yesterday. And there again, any other team in the country, you barely beat a team that you should have knocked the living snot out of. You get penalized in the rankings unless your name is Oklahoma, Ohio State, or Alabama, or I'll even throw Georgia in there. And to a lesser extent, not really this year because they're terrible, Clemson. So I don't think they're there because they're good for business. They're not there because they are a top 4 college football team.
Of course they're good for business. But you know what's also good for business? NCAA March Madness. And here's the thing. I'm so sick and tired of this one-way mindset when it comes to that. They're good for business, so they're there. Yeah, you want to know what statistics prove are the highest-rated NCAA March Madness games? The teams that upset the higher seeds and then go on. The continued games that the upset teams win and keep moving on are the highest-rated games. Fans drive more revenue seeing the teams that do the upset. So that's why they need to expand this to 8 teams. And if you're going to do this stupid crap with Alabama, it drives the revenue. Sure, they do. But you know who else will drive the revenue? When Cincinnati or a Southern Florida or a Boise State or one of these teams that get screwed year in and year out because they don't have a big name go into the playoffs and they beat in Alabama. Because guess what? That next game that they play, fans are going to tune into that game big time. They want to see the Cinderella win it. They want to see the team that isn't Alabama win it. And sure, you put the Alabama in there because they're the evil empire with it. But I mean, we don't have 8 teams. So when you're saying, okay, there's no 8 teams, it's 4 teams. To credit Bama in one small way, they don't make their own schedule outside of paying a Mercer or whoever the hell they paid to come in. Their schedule as an SEC team was garbage this year, but no one expected LSU to fall off the face of the earth. Miami and Florida were supposed to be better teams than they both were, but they played Miami, Mercer, Florida, Southern Miss, Mississippi, Texas A&M, who they lost to, who's barely hanging on top 25, Mississippi State, Tennessee, LSU, New Mexico State, Arkansas, who they barely beat, and they're very lucky that their quarterback had like a perfect game to do that. And then the Iron Bowl where they pulled it out, and if the Auburn running back went down on the ground on that run, that game's over, and they lose it 10-3. Like, how you can sit here as a committee, and I put it on Sports Soup. One of the commentators asked the other one, if Alabama loses this game and has 2 losses but wins the SEC championship, would you still put them in the playoffs? Not even trying to consider or weighing the options of all the other teams. They were like, oh yeah, absolutely. Because it would prove that that 2-loss team, that they're better. Literally no consideration for any of the other teams. And it's an absolute joke. And people are like, Cincinnati's not a real team. Cincinnati, people said that against Notre Dame. How did that work out for them?
Notre Dame.
They beat Notre Dame's
Dame's only loss
came
to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has more impressive wins than Alabama. Michigan beat the crap out of Ohio State. And people are still arguing, even though finally the AP poll came out and Michigan was ahead of Alabama. People are still like, well, I mean, Alabama, it was already up there. That's the whole element of the preseason ranking needs to go away too. They need to let these freaking teams play into week 3 before you rank them, because once you're ranked up top, it's harder to knock you down as opposed to teams having to swim their way.
And it's not only that, Supas, it's the fact that they take Alabama, right? And Alabama, so let's put Alabama aside for right now. Let's go earlier in the season when Notre Dame's playing Cincinnati, right? Number 8 versus number 9, okay? Cincinnati beats Notre Dame. Notre Dame drops all the way down to 14. 8 versus 9, so two top 10 teams playing each other. They knock Notre Dame down all the way down to 14. Cincinnati jumps up. Then you get Alabama, who loses to an unranked Texas A&M, who somehow finds themselves 2 weeks later ranked 13th. Go figure, right? And then they've lost 2 games since then even. But they lose to an unranked Texas A&M team, and they move from number 1 to number 5. That way, once another top 4 team loses, they can move them right back into the top 4. It is asinine to me to say that the Notre Dame loss to Cincinnati is a worse loss than the Alabama loss to Texas A&M. And I'm not saying Notre Dame needs to be in the college football playoffs, because we've all seen the dog and pony show with Notre Dame since Brian Kelly has taken over, where they can be a team that goes undefeated or only loses 1 game and then just get blown out in the college football playoffs. I don't think they're a team that can beat Georgia. I don't think they're a team that could beat Cincinnati even. Obviously, they've already proven that they can beat Cincinnati. But what I'm saying is that Alabama has proven this year that they're not a team that's going to go into this playoff and still be that Alabama team. They're in the college football playoff because of the name Alabama. That's why no matter if they go out and get blown out against Georgia, they're going to be 4th. They're going to be ranked 4th because they're going to tell you that their loss versus Georgia is going to be a good enough loss to still rank them in at number 4, and they want to see the rematch.
I mean, there's a lot of other things you got to put into that, but if Michigan wins, if Cincinnati wins, and Georgia all win because they'd have to beat Alabama, and then Oklahoma State wins, there's no way. There's no way. I know the names, but there's no way.
I agree with you, but I think that they're going to find a way.
You want to talk about refusing to watch the games? That's the reason you don't watch games, Tori, is to absolutely show the committee that this is dog shit. I mean, Oklahoma State has beaten 9th-ranked Baylor in what was 10th ranked Oklahoma, and is ranked 5th right now.
After that Michigan Ohio State game this past weekend, I would almost argue that I'd rather see a 2-loss Ohio State team back into the college football playoff before I want to see this Alabama team, because I think that if Michigan's in there and you get a rematch between Ohio State and Michigan, I think that's more appealing than any game that Alabama's going to play, because I don't think Alabama can beat a top 4 team.
No,
I really don't.
They can't. They're not blowing any. I think it would be another thing if we looked at this Alabama year. Like I said, they had a schedule that 3 years ago, probably when it was set up, this was supposed to be one hell of a schedule. Miami, Florida, LSU. It wasn't. These are garbage teams this year. But they didn't blow these teams out of the water either. If you are a dominant team, you steamroll that whole thing to the point like Georgia's doing, where the committee's like, damn, like, yeah, but they're not. They're just escaping these teams, and it's an absolute joke that still today Alabama is ahead of Oklahoma State. Why? Because at the beginning of the season, Oklahoma State was ranked like 22nd, or maybe not even in the top 25, and Alabama was ranked 2. And that because of that, Alabama is still in the AP top 4, and Oklahoma State is 5th. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But if Oklahoma State wins the Big 12, beating a ranked 9th ranked Baylor team for the second time this year, if Cincinnati wins their division, stays undefeated, Georgia dismantles Alabama, and Michigan wins the Big 10, how you don't put those 4 teams in automatically and not expect a riot is beyond me. If anything, they put Alabama 5th, and they will use that as the catalyst of expanding the playoffs into 8 teams, because God forbid Alabama didn't get to the playoffs when they should have.
I think as we speak, going into this weekend, I think Georgia, I think Cincinnati, Michigan, and Oklahoma State are your top 4. Notre Dame's at 5, Baylor's at 6. And then I would put Oklahoma at 7, and I would put Alabama at 8. That would be my top 8. I don't understand what happened to a W. Is a W blowout or not?
Because it's college football.
It's college football.
Like literally, like if you don't cover you play, like you said, Mercer, and you're favored by 38 points, but you only beat them by 30. That's looked up like is not a big enough win.
And a W
can't
be
a 20 and a half against Auburn yesterday.
A W can't be a W in a sport where you have rankings. Where you have votes as to who's ranking, because at that point, a W is a W goes out the window, because a W versus Notre Dame versus a W versus Mercer, they can't be weighed the same. A loss versus Cincinnati and a loss versus Texas A&M can't be weighed the same. It just can't.
True.
So there's no way there's a W in college football.
Dorian Combs, take a breath. Take a breath. He was being facetious.
But still, because I have heard people asking me this question in college football, if they still won the game, it doesn't matter. It's not the same. This is the NFL.
It's a completely different animal. Completely.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Let's say, even if
it's a better driven sport.
Even if you say W is a W no matter what, fine. Then put Oklahoma State with the same record as Alabama with the same record, and then you have to compare their W's. And the W's for Oklahoma State are far more impressive. And their one loss is far less of a demeaning loss, playing a strong in-division team like Iowa State, who I know is not like a stellar top team, but they're a tough team that plays a ton of teams tough compared to what they had with the only reason Texas A&M is ranked is because they beat Bama. That's the only reason that team got ranked, to Combs' point. And at the end of the day, fine, W's are W's, but you still got to compare them then against other teams with the same ranking. And Oklahoma State right now is sitting the outside looking in, getting screwed because at the beginning of the year, they didn't have the name to be put in the top 4 like Alabama did, just because they're Alabama.
Oklahoma State needs to be number. I don't understand how you could have Georgia, Alabama, Cincy, and Michigan, because there is no way that Oklahoma State is a freaking bottom 4. And look, I get it. Their one loss is a bad loss. It was a close loss. It was to Iowa State. It's not a good loss. It's just as bad of a loss as the loss that Alabama suffered against Texas A&M. But the way Oklahoma State has played since that loss is the difference between them and Alabama. I mean, they are not playing close games. They are blowing teams out. Granted, they played a close game against Oklahoma, but that's a top 10 team.
Oklahoma was a top 10 team.
So it's not the same as Alabama. And so that's where I don't understand why Alabama would be in there, but Oklahoma State would be on the outside looking in, other than the fact that there's an SEC bias and there's a bias for Alabama and wanting to see them in.
See, I don't think it's an SEC bias, but I do. I think
an SEC bias for sure.
There's an Alabama bias.
I agree with you, Tori, more than the SEC bias. I think it's the Bama bias.
It's the Bama bias because Bama is good for TV. It's good for ratings. It's good for money, and that's the big reason because of the legacy Bama has built. People don't remember when they went through that 20-year stretch where they weren't very good. You know, they had both the early mid 90s. They fell off, and they fell off for quite a while. You know?
This is the comment of the night from our boy Rock. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with NCAA. They're still living in the 80s. Hell, not even the 90s. I think this is the way it works in the 80s. These rules work for college scene in the 80s and 90s. Rock, 100%. That's the problem. And it's so crazy.
It's always been a problem with college football. The vote in the rankings have always been. Remember when they used to vote on the national champion? Like it wasn't even a matter of who went on. They would vote for who was the champion. And I remember the year, I think it was '94, and I talk about it all the time. Notre Dame was so good that year. Their one loss came against Boston College, but they beat Florida State the week prior. They lost on a field goal the week after to Boston College. Both teams finished with one loss. Notre Dame's one loss was to Boston College. Florida State's one loss was to Notre Dame, and they voted Florida State to be the national champion.
It is. It's crazy to me that in a time where students have, and you know, most high-end students in most schools are not having to they're not putting as much effort as most students are. I'm not saying that student athletes aren't working as hard in their classes, but they tend to not. They get a little bit of a pass. You got the winter break. And I know it's not basketball, but everyone's like, well, you know, football, you can't play it more than once a week. That's fine. Who cares? But basketball has a whole friggin' tournament that lasts over a month. In the month of March, goes into April when they're fully in school, and they can have a full tournament and prove their abilities and everything on there. But we can't do a playoff format in NCAA football. It's a joke. And if it was about revenue, you are missing out on a bigger opportunity to add even more revenue. That's the biggest joke to me.
Well, what about the bowl games? You incorporate the bowl games into your playoff.
Well, they did that. They did that with the four. They made those the major 4 bowl games. Just make it 8. The fact that they went this preseason and talked about expanding it to 16, they went from a molehill to Everest, and it made no sense. Why did you jump up this? Of course you're going to vote no. That's too big. 8. Make it 8. Make it 8. You get your Power 5. You get the Cincinnatis and everything like that in there, point, and you let them prove it.
Do you guarantee the Power 5 conference champions a spot in the playoff then, though?
Yeah, I think you make it a situation like you do in like the NFL. You could be a 7-9 Seattle Seahawks team winning your division.
Do all the Power 5 conferences have a conference championship?
They do now, I believe. Now that Big 12 did it.
Now the Big 12 got back to
Big 12 finally got their heads out of their asses and did it. But now that you have that, you give the Big Power 5 because then you let's say that you're a 11-0 team and you go into your conference championship and you lose. Well, then the 3 remaining spots.
So what do you do? What do you do for teams? Your like your teams that aren't in like the Notre Dame and BYU? Like what do you do?
That's on Notre Dame for never getting at least the basketball team they got into division. But then they got to go off their record. Is their record good enough to get into the final 3 spots?
Right.
And then that's got to force Notre Dame. You better go get in a division then. If you want,
right, it'd be the death of the independents. But they already play basketball in a lot of the sports in the ACC anyways.
Right.
So why not just join the ACC for football? Why? Because they have a huge television contract that their games get viewed every single week. Is why the football team has not joined the conference yet.
And all the money, and with all the money, you go to 8 teams, and everyone makes a profit. Like
Right.
it blows my
And you
mind.
start-
That's why
they're going to go to 8
I,
teams. They're going to go to 8 teams within the next couple of
but
years.
they should have done
mean,
it 20 years
I
ago.
agree.
I mean, that's
Oh,
why
I
I brought
agree.
up Rock's
But
comment, because
yeah.
it blows me away. It's almost 2022, and they still don't have 8 teams in a playoff scenario in December
Javier
when
says,
these kids are on break.
the Miami Hurricanes need a real coach. I don't disagree, but that's a great segue into the next way or no way here. Is Lincoln Riley is leaving Oklahoma. Not
for
LSU, but he is going to USC to try to revive that program. Way or no way, guys. Lincoln Riley will revive the USC football program.
I went first last time, Chad. Your turn.
Okay. I'm going to go way to start and then no way long term. And here's why. He is you've already got OU players tweeting that they're going. You know coaches are going to go with him. There's when they announced that they were going to the SEC, I fully believe, and I'd go on a long rant, but I'm not going to do that. But I think that was when his decision was made. I think the LSU thing was a smokescreen. I think he did have something verbal with them, but he was doing it to drive the USC contract up to where him and his agent wanted it. He's already going to have players transferring. Spencer Rattler or Caleb Williams is going to transfer with them. I know Buck says that Spencer is going to go there. Rattler is going to go there. He's going to bring players that know him and know his system. And the only way to go is up right now. If he gets USC to only a 2-loss season next year and in the Pac-12, which is not really that big, if he's got them going against Oregon next year, else. If he's going against Oregon in the championship game next year, that's an immediate success. But here's the thing. It won't last long because after a certain amount of time, I just don't think that he's going to be able to drive away the recruiting from this dominant SEC. With Texas and OU going there, that means more recruits. That means more things going there. Oregon's already got an established recruiting class. He's going to get some immediate impact. But I think in about 5 years, I don't know if Lincoln Riley's still the coach of USC. I think Lincoln Riley's coaching in the NFL within 3 to 4 years. I think this is Lincoln's desire to go there, make a big impact. USC is such a huge name. Get them into a Pac-12 championship game, maybe sneak them in the playoffs, Oklahoma style, and then go, oh, the Arizona Cardinals are calling me, or some other team is calling me. I'm going to jump and get that NFL contract. I think that's his end game with this. So way to start, and then no way for a long-term rebuild.
Torrey?
So I'm going to go way as well. And so speaking of the Arizona Cardinals, did you hear the name already being tossed around to replace Cliff Kingsbury to replace Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma?
That's who Oklahoma wants. They've made it clear that's their number one focus. It doesn't mean Cliff's going to go for it, but they've let it leak out in reports.
A guy who's got a chance to win a Super Bowl this year deciding to go back to college.
Back to college
doesn't make sense to me.
I just think that it'd be like the circle of life because he took over as OC at USC and was with the intention that if it didn't work for that, he would be able to take over as coach at USC, and then he bolted to the Cardinals, and then now Lincoln Riley bolted to USC, and now Oklahoma wants him. But I think I'm going to kind of agree. Like, I think Lincoln Riley was not looking forward to going to the SEC at all.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, no, I'm not done.
Oh, go ahead.
He likes Lincoln Riley and USC. He's got more to talk about.
Yeah, no, I think that he revised it. The Pac-12 is not a good conference right now. With the way he can recruit and the way he can develop, he can go, like you said, he will make a quick turnaround with USC and make them dominant again. And then bolt for his next opportunity. And I do think that helps bolster his NFL resume. Even though the NFL has been calling for him for the last 3 to 4 years, I think it's more of a resume booster. It lines him up for any job. Like, say the NFL doesn't work out, it lines him up for basically any job he wants in college football to go back to the college game, and he can pick any school he wants to go to. So yeah, I think this is a great move for them, actually.
I disagree. I don't think he's going to revive this program at all. Is he going to bring a lot of excitement this season? Sure, probably. You talk about bringing players with you. I know you had mentioned Spencer Rattler going with. Take Spencer Rattler with the guy he's not good. Spencer Rattler is just plain and simple, and he's proven it game in and game out that he's just not that damn good. And I know Buck's talking about, he might come out and he might go into the NFL draft. It'd be the dumbest thing that he could do. Spencer Rattler going to the NFL draft would be stupid on his part. It would be just, it's just the way you've played this year, you're going to get picked in the 6th round.
The strategy, though, with how terrible it is, you're going to have, here's the only reason I kind of side with Buck. I don't think he will, but I think it might be a decision that's good for him because of how terrible this QB class is. There's going to be some desperate team that saw the flashes that Lincoln Riley and a lot of other people that put him on the Heisman ballot to start the season. They'll pay him.
The Lions.
They'll draft him and give him a rookie QB, and he'll live off of that rookie QB contract like Johnny Manziel does
Lions
for the next 10, 15
number
years.
1. Oh my God, Lions! We would have to have our boy back on here. Luke G would have to come on if that happened because we would have to talk. We would have to save him from something. Javier with a super sticker. Thank you, Javier. $2 super sticker there.
It's like I said. I think if Spencer Rattler goes, he gets the Matt Barkley treatment. Somebody will take him in the 2nd or 3rd round and be like, I really think that this kid can be a really good NFL quarterback.
But that's why
and then he bounces all around the league for the next 10 years, as a journeyman.
Yeah. Or I don't know who put it in the comments earlier about the NIL. I popped it up. If he transfers to USC, all the hype. Think about right now, USC, the Trojans, the fan bases and the boosters and everything. They're thinking, oh my God, we got Lincoln Riley. It's time to get out of this gutter position. If Lincoln Riley says, listen, I didn't get the chance to develop Spencer Rattler, the fan base in Oklahoma, they're demanding excellence, everything. I know what he can do. That's why I got him from Arizona to be on the Sooners. I almost bet they'd be like, great, let's do it. And you got now California money rolling into him. That's the only difference. The NIL might give him that full reason, but I just see a Johnny Manziel effect if he goes to the NFL. He's going to get a nice contract just to party on a boat with for the next 10, 15 years because he will walk into the NFL and just
aren't very good. You got Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield trading interceptions here in a 6-3 game heading into halftime. What a barn burner we have on Sunday Night Football.
I expected a tight, close game with these two anytime you get the in-division, except for Cincinnati, who decides they're just going to blow out their in-division games, rivals. But this is beyond. I mean, that throw by Lamar, who just threw the pick, that was garbage. That has nothing to do with the Browns being your in-division opponent. That was just straight garbage.
Both of them have made some really bad throws.
Oh, yeah. This is bad. This isn't a rivalry.
Baker trying to make a play and then just dropping the ball too.
What was the over/under on this game?
I don't know, but the under's looking real good about.
Yep, exactly.
Tori, why are you watching this game? Which team do you like? Tori, it doesn't matter.
They're the lovable losers.
We are out of time. Man Hour Nation.